Men of Reddit, what's the best compliment you have ever received? A beauty therapist friend once asked me who did my eyebrows. She looked forlorn when I told her they just grow this way naturally. I used to work a dirty job that also had me staying in hotels. Walked by a pretty girl at the front desk. We nodded heads at each other as I went to my room to clean up. When I came back through to get something to eat in their restaurant, she got a shocked look on her face and said, "Dang, you clean up nice, still remember it 25 years later." Plot twist, you did a thorough and good job cleaning. You have great kidneys, doctor. One time at a dance rehearsal for PE, I took off my glasses to wipe the sweat off my face. A male classmate told me I actually looked handsome if I didn't have my glasses on. Took it as a compliment cause, he's the only non-family person to call me handsome, we aren't really friends, and he kinda has a jerk personality. It's kinda like that moment in Parks and Rec where Jen Barkley told Leslie, "You can trust me, cause I don't care enough about you to lie." A girl at a crowded bar walked over with a friend, just to tell me I had the most beautiful eyelashes. They just stared at them. I have never felt more pretty, before or since then. Girls always say I have nice eyelashes and that most guys have nicer eyelashes than most girls. Then they complain that it's not fair because guys don't care about their eyelashes. You are the greatest man I have ever known. Through you, I have made this world a brighter place. My mother before she passed. I'm sorry, dude. I'm glad she let you know how much you meant to her before she passed. A friend said that if he ever had to put his life in someone's hands, it would be me. Not necessarily because I'm his closest friend, but because I'm the most level-headed person he knows. God, Zero Keely, you've got to get me to a hospital. Well, you appear to have lost at least 2 liters of blood already, and the nearest hospital is easily 28 minutes away in this traffic. Frankly, we'd just be wasting everyone's time and effort if I call an ambulance. This girl told me that she liked my singing. I've been working on it in secret for a year, so it was great to hear. Being complimented as musician, particularly after a gig, is as rewarding as anything. I always gauge my performance on whether anyone says anything or not, even if I'm always pretty self-critical. But that flattery never gets old. Good gigs equals crack high, bad gigs equals shame and self-loathing. I was in San Francisco and a gay gentleman said, "Don't go to the Castro, you'll get eaten alive." As a straight male, anything from a gay guy is a great feeling. You have a fat butt. I'd totally date you if you were a girl. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate the compliment. Frickin' Chris, man. You're not so creepy as I thought. Told my high school crush I started working out and she said I am perfect the way I am. She likes you. Make a move. I have done stand-up comedy for a few years, mostly open mics and bar shows, but it's a passion of mine, and it lets me be creative. One time at a show, the MC was giving a half-hearted intro that he gives for every comic. "Ladies and gentlemen, our next comedian is very funny. You've seen them at all the clubs and colleges." And then he looked at the list and saw my name and he stopped and said, "Oh, this comedian is actually really funny. You're going to like this guy." The MC was caught off guard and gave an honest reaction at a time when he couldn't care less about who was coming up. It felt really good to know that he genuinely thought I was funny. As a father, the best comment I've received is from one of the ladies at the local rec center we frequent. She said, "You're a great dad. I see how patient you are, and I can see that your kids really love you." As a photographer, a client once told me, "When I die, the way I want to be remembered is the way I look in your photos." This one is a shared compliment, but when my wife and I had our first kid and he was about 8 months old, we were walking into a restaurant while a group of younger guys were walking out and one of them said, "You two know how to make one cute ass baby." That was a very, very, very good weekend. To put it bluntly, you have a nice body from an extremely pretty girl. My self-esteem made a hole in my roof as it shot into orbit. Your kneecaps make you look like a strong hunter. There's a urinal at my school where someone's written on the wall, "Nice dong bro." I always use that urinal. My kids called me dad. I adopted them, and the adjustment was hard. I was standing in line at a TJ Maxx, and in front of me there was this older, 50s-ish, African American woman in traditional clothing, all brightly colored patterns and whatnot with big gold jewelry. She looked very well put together and classy. Anyway, she turned around, looked me over and said very loudly, "Ooh, boy, I like your glasses, and your hair, and your beard. You a good looking man." I'm a pretty personable guy. I do well with people. I don't know what it was, but this woman caught me so off guard. All I could do was blush and smile and say a tiny thanks in return. The dude in front of her and the chick behind me both heard the exchange and were looking at us. It was awkward. I was awkward, but it made me feel great. Wish I'd been more appreciative. Have you lost weight? Looking good. By several people. Lost about 20 pounds at that point. Felt good it was noticed. Not sure if it was the best, but someone said that I was the kind of financial advisor you send your mother to. Meant a lot. My philosophy prof told me that my student lecture on Schopenhauer was the best student lecture in the 2 decades he had been assigning them. My mom told me I'm going to be handsome when I grow up. When I was 18 and walking back from a soccer match all sweaty and covered with mud, I came across a quite attractive young mother with her 3 kids in tow. She looked lost, so I offered directions. Afterwards, as I was walking away, she said thanks again and then shot me a smoldering look I won't ever forget and just said great legs under her breath so her kids couldn't hear. I don't get many compliments, so that was like winning the fricking lottery. Bet you're still riding that one out if you know what I mean. Not the best, but always makes me smile. After my wife and I had our first child I realized I had put on a ton of weight. I'm 5 feet 8 inches and weighed like 250 pounds. I got real serious about diet and exercise and got down to a mildly muscular 185 pounds over 6 months. I also started night classes and picked up a second job at Old Navy to make ends meet. One night just before Christmas, a woman is looking for clothes for her husband and asks about the fit of this tight Henley type shirt. I grabbed one off the shelf and put it on and showed her how it looked. She said we were similar in height weight. She gave me a bit of a head to toe look and said she liked it but didn't think her husband would fill it out the way I did. Probably the first time in my life a woman other than my wife gave me a compliment. Big grin for days. I was losing weight bit by bit and needed a new belt. It was a good day, and while I was walking down Costco with friends I kept jumping pulling pants up. Some older sen lady smiled at me and said I looked healthy. It was great, and helped the already huge smile I had. You know you've done good when Asians tell you look healthy. A girl in high school told me she knew I was my sister's brother. They were both in dance together but years apart, because we both had the same eyes, and complimented them as being beautiful. That was the first time I remember a girl saying something like that about me, so it was super flattering. Similar story, but instead of beautiful eyes, it's big crooked nose. My poor sister. When my friend from high school didn't recognize me when I saw him in a bar, I'd lost around 90 pounds in 2 years, haven't seen him in 4. And the best part was when he said hey to my friends I was with and didn't notice me. By the 3rd time he looped around the bar he saw me and he was in shock. I have 3 kids and taking them anywhere is a juggling act. A middle-aged drunk woman at a local carnival came up to me and said frick you for making parenting look easy. Haha, I totally do this. Strictly internally, whenever I see unicorn children with their parents in the wild. A girl asked me if I was wearing colored contacts or if my eyes were naturally that blue. It stood out to me because it felt so genuine rather than trying to be a compliment. From a dive pub I played pool at in college, had a local friend who told me man you're special, gonna go places, you're book smart and street smart, don't frick it up really meant a lot at a time when I was wallowing in post-college indecision and depression. You dress so much nicer than other guys still riding that high. Reminded me of you smell like a man when I wore a new cologne to work. I have been told by various middle-aged women that I am very handsome through their conversations with my mother. That's true for an ex-co-worker of mine. A week before he started to work, his mom told me that he's a tall glass of water. I had to ask a few people what it meant. This gay guy hit on me while I stopped at a drag show during an arts festival. I'm not gay and thanked him. He was super nice. But also, goddamn, he was good looking. I was so flattered. He was younger and this was in '04, so I'm sure it took a ton of courage on his part. I was on cloud 9. Made my day. I kept all 3 of my young children quietly entertained on a long airplane flight. I wasn't even sitting directly next to them. After all of the passengers exited the plane, I had a number of old and older couples personally thank me for not pretending like we owned the plane. Apparently, these folks have seen some crap. I think everyone who has ever been on a plane has seen that crap. So I'd like to thank you as well on behalf of all plane passengers in the universe. I had only had crappy exploitative retail jobs with managers who verbally abused and underpaid me. I got a job working on and off for a former crime boss. One day he had a problem with other staff members lying. He stormed up to me and half shouted, "Look, I respect you. So I wanna know what the frick you think is going on here?" I was so taken aback I could barely answer his question. It was the first time someone had straight up said anything like that to me. Was talking to someone I hadn't seen in years. He said I'm much more confident now. Despite having moderately bad acne, multiple women have complimented me on my green eyes, saying they're beautiful, which sets them apart from my face. I lost my virginity to a far more experienced girl and she told me we're gonna have to do that again, like a lot. See, this could go either way. I've been hit on by gay guys, and girls would compliment me when I was single and stuff. You would think that takes the cake. The best and most meaningful compliment I ever received was by a senior programmer I consider to be a genius. Literally, at my job before he left. He said that I'm a great programmer, and often commented that things I did are the way he would have done it. It meant a lot because I actually look up to him and wonder how the frick he fits all that knowledge in his head. I literally never get tired of talking to you. My ex, who I used to talk to 4 hours daily about random crap. She's a Princeton alum drug addict with a colorful past, so I'm pretty proud of being interesting enough to someone that's had a much crazier life than me. Frick her though, she ended up being a C. Don't know if this counts, but during intercourse she said, "You're so big." I'm honestly not, like 5 inches, but it didn't stop me from finishing immediately. Just because you're not doesn't mean it's not valid. Crap, if you're making her say that, you're probably doing something right. Nice calves. I've been playing guitar for 13 years now, and recently, I've been trying to play more with a slide. I was in a guitar store with my dad, and as they were about to close, my dad saw a guitar on the wall that he was curious as to what it sounds like. It was a 1957 Gibson ES 125, and he doesn't play guitar, so I picked it up, plugged it in, and went on to play Amazing Grace and then Statesboro Blues by the Allman Brothers. After I did that, my dad said, "I want you to play that at my funeral." I'm not sure if he meant that seriously, and it's definitely not something I want to think about in the near future, but it still was an amazing thing to hear. Whether he meant it for real or not, the sentiment behind it sounds true. An 18-year-old drag queen from Canada said to me, a 21-year-old Brit backpacking in the southern states of the USA, "You know, in a town like this, a cute boy like you could make a lot of money." Nice. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.